biggest part of my growth was, again, acceptance. Because before you can forgive anything, anyone, including yourself, you have to accept what is in front of you.
Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British.
We in. Some of that You got Truly in the building.
Woo, woo.
For those who don't know who you are, may you please introduce yourself and where they can find you.
You can find me being a mum at home. No, I'm joking. I run a podcast with my co-host. The pod is called When the Kids Go to Bed.
See?
I like that you know that.
See, I got you.
Part of the jingles.
Yeah.
Shells always cusses me because I'm always the one that reminds her of it. Yeah, and that's basically it. Truly Talks on Instagram. London Girls Talks at London Girls Talks. That's it. That's me.
I just discovered.
We've just discovered.
Yeah, that not only are you a Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
but we share the same birthday and the same year.
We're literally 1986.
Why did you done tell people?
I mean, I ain't ashamed. Look,
Basically, what she meant, no, I'm joking, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
we're fine. We look good at this age.
But do you know this fact that you said 37 and you're not even 37?
Babe, I've been saying it all year.
That's broken my heart a little bit.
Literally the whole year. I don't know how. The same exact thing happened when I turned 27.
Mad. No.
I was saying I was 27 before the birthday. I don't know why.
I think I held on to like 28. So when I turned like 30 and the people asked me how old I was, I went, I'm 20. I'm like, oh, snap. I'm 30.
You're not, yeah.
Now I think 37 is a weird number and I'm not willing to embrace it.
When I hear 37, it just makes me think 40 is just...
Ew.
Just
Ew.
there.
Just no, it's not there. It's not over the
I'm not
hills
trying
and
to be
far
40.
away. No,
I'm
we're
not.
not doing that.
Yeah. I think I'll be 37 for a few more years. So like I was saying, I was 37 already. I'll just be 37 next year. And then the year after and the year after.
I think we deserve 2 years.
That's
COVID
right.
robbed us of 2 years.
Of my whole life.
Of nothingness.
So
anxiety.
God, can we freeze this look too so we don't get any age?
I think we're doing it right for our age. I'm not going to lie. I still get approached by young things and I'm just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
baby, no.
Yeah, like, no, darling.
I'm
You're
old
like
enough to
my
be a mother.
daughter's age.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's embarrassing. So I invited you here because I genuinely appreciate the way you speak. I appreciate your vulnerability. And there's one clip that you did on your episode where you had Aaron on.
Yep.
And I felt
Raising
it.
Boys to Men.
Yes.
Shout out him.
We've just filmed 2 episodes of him.
Oh, did
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Love that.
We actually went to the same gym together for a while, but we never spoke to each other. It was just like focus.
Yeah.
So it was nice to reconnect from ends. But there was something about the way you spoke so honestly, and I think it resonated with me. Like when you had that hope, that when you spoke about like before you split with the father of your children, the same parent.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and like just having that hope that maybe something will work, something will change, maybe we can make it work. And I think a lot of people dismiss the fact that when you step away from a relationship, when you have children, it's not a very simple like decision, and then it's what comes up afterwards. But before we start, we start every episode with a quote. I think go for your biblical one for this one, if you remember it.
My quote is, iron sharpens iron so that man can sharpen one another, or something like that.
Okay.
It's
And
not
why?
word for word, people. Sorry. All the devout Christians out there.
Guess that. So why do you choose that quote?
Out of all the scriptures that I've read over the years, I feel like it's very short and sweet, simple, punchy, easy to remember. But the reason it sticks in my heart is because I've been a teacher. I had children from a very young age. I've always felt mature. But I'm also very much aware that you can learn anything from anyone and at any time. So to keep yourself open so that there's room for growth every day.
Yeah.
And I feel like where we have so many preconceptions of other people, what they might be thinking, how they might act, how they might behave, what their culture's like, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
you can limit yourself to your own growth by doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's powerful for me.
Do you know what? Just for that, I'm gonna go for, because I was gonna start because we're filming 2, innit? But I felt like it's relative now to go into the growth conversation.
Oh man, just let it free flow.
So my quote is, know your worth even if it gets lonely. And I think it's something that a lot of us don't want to stop and understand. We talk about knowing our worth, and we're talking about all these things about, you know, I know my worth and da-da-da-da-da. But in the same breath, you're holding on to friends and relationships that aren't serving you and actually hurting you. So I think I had to learn to accept, in order for me to grow, I need to accept that it's going to be quite lonely at first. Like, in order for me to navigate, so i.e. leaving my relationship with the father of my child, like, that's a divorce. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's, knowing that it's going to be quite a lonely, overwhelming feeling, but I'm not going to be a better mother or a better person if I don't leave the situation. So I think it's just being comfortable with that loneliness and seeing the wisdom and the beauty of being alone and allowing yourself to even potentially outgrow people. And it's not a disrespect when you outgrow someone. Sometimes even your friends no longer serve you, because, like I've said this before, like in the first few episodes, sometimes we say like, but they're my riders, they're my day ones. But what do you guys now share? Now that you've grown into different chapters in life,
girl,
do we still hold on to that, or do we accept that actually we can make friends tomorrow who will serve us today and impact us in ways that we didn't even realize?
I always say, like, your best friends in life will be the ones that will help you and push you to fly.
Yeah.
Even if that means away from them.
Yeah.
That's the type of friend that I try to be. So regardless of what we've got going on in our lives, I will always love you, even if that means from a distance, because I have to step back, or you have to step back or step to the side. And even the word outgrow, I feel like there's negative connotations, especially for females, female friendships. When you say, oh, I've outgrown you, it sounds like you feel like you're above
more
someone.
Superior, yeah. But
and it doesn't necessarily mean that. Sometimes growing means that way, and you're growing that way. So bye. See you soon. Love you. Take care. I'm here when you need me.
That's exactly how I see it.
Yeah.
Like, literally the same, which is I'll continue to be there. But if we're no longer serving each other, there's someone that's actually be more beneficial to you than I am.
Yeah.
So it's not as if, like you said, I'm not superior than you.
Yeah.
But it's just what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. That's not my lane.
Yeah.
So like maybe we can still hook up every now and then and do other
but
things.
I can't hold your hand every day now. Yeah.
There we go.
Fine, yeah.
And the thing is, what I realized about growth is, when I look at people older than us, because we're grownish, innit? We're not grown.
We're grown-ish.
Is that when I see people who are just so comfortable in their skin and they're so confident, and when you speak to, you know, the older generation, they're just like, because I've just grown into who I am, I've learned who I am, I'm comfortable in my skin. And I think there's a beauty about growth where if you allow yourself to get there, it's an interesting and uncomfortable journey. But once we get there, there's something about when they go, it's no F's given.
Yeah.
And it's because you start putting things into perspective.
I feel like maybe you'll relate because we are the same age and stuff. But I feel like, especially maybe last year was like pivotal for me with the growth in my aesthetic.
Okay.
How I look, how I present myself to the world and all that. Do I like to take care of myself? Yes. Do I like to look and feel nice? Yes, of course. But I couldn't give a rat's bumhole if you like how I look, or if what your opinion of how I look and how I present myself is, because...
So you've completely turned that...
Yeah, I switched completely off. Like, unless I'm in a... Which hasn't been for a very long time, but I can imagine if I was to become single at any point, God forbid, unless I was single and, you know, went out and about wanting male attention, other than that, I could not care less.
Because do you know certain women are a bit catty, and I'm not here for the catty energy, so that's why I grew up as one of the boys to an extent. I prefer to just gravitate to dudes that are just straightforward and easy. Yeah, there's shippiness I can tolerate, whereas women are very catty and very cliquey, and I'm very like, love can be spread everywhere, and it's like being able to bounce off different places. Yeah, like even to this day, as much as I try not to care, there's a hint of me that's still like my inner child voice going, oh, but maybe they're going to judge you by the way you look. If you pull up to like a reunion or a birthday event, it's like, do I look good enough? I've had a baby, they haven't. My body looks different, their body doesn't. It's just like, I want to say like I've accomplished or figured out the art of not giving a damn, but I feel like to an extent there's moments of self-doubt that kicks in with me still.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't ever think I don't have insecurities, because I do. My body has changed. I became ill after my last child. So where I have to take medication and I can't work out as how I used to and all that kind of stuff. My body has changed. So even with starting podcasting, I was like, I look like heavier than when everyone last saw me out and about raving or out at but now I'm like,
that's how I felt, because when in season 2 on my podcast, it was like there was 3 of us, and I was a bit of a slimmers back then. Like I was slim thick. Now I'll be thick, and it's just like, and I'm now doing it solo. I'm like, am I ready? But I'm like, is that going to be a reason to stop me filming when I know this is what I'm meant to be doing? Yeah. So I'm just like, so far I haven't had the "well, you're fat anyway" vibes, but I probably just invited that comment right now, so we'll roll with it. We know we done fit in this outfit and know how it feels. But yes, I wanted to know, growing up, did you see, like, this is just about learning who you are as a mum.
Yeah.
Did you see your mum as your truth when it came to like things that she taught you and like what you took in about purpose and life?
It's a very good question. Yes and no. There was a lot that I feel like my mum got right, a lot that my mum pushed beyond her limits to cater for myself and my brother. I saw that she was very sacrificial with what she had to do, with what she wanted to do, because my mum was 21 when she had me, and then 23 when she had my brother. And then became a single mum shortly after. So she had to do a lot alone, which meant I had to grow up a lot fast. So yes, because I see that she done her very, very best, and I can see that as a mum and as a adult woman now. But there was a big chunk of probably my latter teenage years where I looked at my mum like, why? I'm not like that. I don't think like that. I wouldn't do it like that. I wouldn't try it like that. Why don't you think of this? And so a lot of the times I kept those negative thoughts to myself. Okay. But they outplayed in my behaviours.
Yeah. So you started deflecting.
So I deflected. I became a little bit rebellious. I just wanted to be out of the house and away from her. And I was quite secretive. But...
yeah, that double life.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Double life.
The double life. Hence, I became a young mum, you know? So,
when did you realise that she wasn't perfect, as opposed to going like, do you know, obviously you went through a phase as a teenager going, you know, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Even if it's just questioning to yourself. When did you realise, you know what? She's not perfect. She's only human. And like maybe gave her more... grace for it. Yeah. Quite young.
I think after I had my son, so maybe around the age of 24, 25, I was like, you know what, this parenthood stuff is not easy.
Yeah.
And doing it as a young person, like I was younger than my mum when I had my daughter. I was 18. I turned 19 the month after she was born.
Yeah.
So I hadn't become a woman before I'd become a mother. Yeah. I'd gone straight from childhood to teenage years to mother. So I didn't really have that bit of, oh, this is Tamsyn, this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is where I fit in the world. Like I didn't have that time to do that alone as an individual woman. So when I became a mum, and after doing it for a few years, I was like, this is boring, this is lonely, this is hard, this is a lot of work. These are the negative sides of motherhood I'm talking about. The and I can see now why my mum done certain things to just, you know, have a little bit of an escapism, or just to have time to be herself and, you know, be with her friends and do her own thing. So, yeah, I guess... yeah, I realized at that age, and that's when I probably first started having counseling therapy.
Okay, yeah.
Or when I realized I needed it.
Yeah.
That it would be beneficial to me. I was like, you just have to forgive her for not being able to meet all of your needs that a lot of the time you didn't even vocalize.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's not a mind reader.
To just get it right.
Yeah. And I feel like as a child and as a young person, like when I was in schools and colleges and stuff, when I would talk to these young people about their parents and they'd be like, yeah, but miss, my mum, or my dad don't let me, and I'm like, yeah, but... Yeah. So then I could be that voice of reason to them, because they're like, but Miss, you're so cool. Your kids must love you. And yeah, they love me, but I'm still the embarrassing mum to them because I'm their mum, regardless of my age.
And you still won't get it right, no matter how much.
Precisely.
There'll be something that maybe your daughter might say to you and it might be humbling.
100%.
And you're going to be like, but I thought
no, not might, babe. They do.
They do.
And I welcome it because of how I was closed.
Yeah.
And I want them to have that openness with me so that when they might struggle, or when they are struggling or confused about something, they can be like, you know what? She might not be the first person I talk to because I've got my friends, but if I do want to talk to her and share that with her, I can.
It's important.
Yeah.
So obviously your mum, you watched her become a mother and like go through, I guess, her roller coaster of trying to find herself. How, obviously you became a mother quite young, like you said, at the age of 18, and you weren't necessarily ready for it. How do you feel like you had to navigate through your identity as a mother? Because I realized like a lot of us initially kind of either embrace the whole, okay, I'm now a mum, I must now be a mother all the time, and strip away everything else in my identity. And there's others who go, wait, hold up, just because I'm a mum doesn't mean I'm going to stop social. And they lose themselves in trying not to own the motherhood title. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's hard to find the balance.
Yeah.
It can be hard to find the balance. And I feel like, how many kids have you got?
Just one.
How old?
He's 8.
Okay, yeah. I feel like at different stages of your child's ages and growth, you grow with them.
Okay.
So, you know, like the only thing I can liken it to is 1 minute your baby is a newborn. Yeah. Next minute they're crawling around, wanting to eat by themselves. Then after that they are walking around, and then they start to talk. And every little stage that they grow through, and if you think about it on a physical level, when they come, they can't do anything. They can't move. They can't do anything for themselves. Then they want more and more and more independence and autonomy as they're starting to learn and stuff through the world.
Yeah.
And it's the same with us. We do the same growing, but just internally. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's triggering. And you have to be open
to receive
to
that.
continually grow with them,
because
and that's where you see parents, you know, like those helicopter mums that don't let their kids do anything. They won't let them fall.
I almost became that because my son was born premature and he had chronic lung disease.
It's so easy to do that.
So for me, I was just like, no, you can't go soft play. No, you can't do this. And it's like everyone's like, just let him go, just let him go. But it's not because I'm just trying to be overly protective for no reason, just because they're my child. It's because I've seen you fight for your life. I've seen you be resuscitated. I've seen you, or I've been told that you will not make it alive out of this hospital. So now that you're here, hell no, you're going to fall off the bed and like break yourself.
Right, but now picture yourself pregnant again with another child with a completely healthy pregnancy. Everything ran to plan as possible, and the baby's here. You're going to be a completely different mum now to when you had your first son.
Yeah.
Because even the ladies that have gone through terminations or miscarriages or very difficult pregnancies or stillbirths, all of these experiences that we go through as women, they impact who we become as a mother.
100%.
You know, like every traumatic or heartbreaking experience or difficult experience shapes our psyche.
100%.
It's just,
I agree with
just
you.
the way it is.
And I think for me, I was able to see how resilient children are. Like, because I went from being protective initially to watch, because upon reflection and watching my son fight for himself, by himself, there's nothing I could do. Do you know what I mean? Besides skin to skin, that's all I could do for you to serve you. And positive energy, like not
feed you.
Do you know what I mean?
Survival things.
But then I watched and I saw how robust and how resilient and how positive he became, and I'm just like, I have no right to feel negative. I have no right to feel weak at times. Like, if my child can soldier through, he can see from one eye right now, and he's like, "Mummy, but I can see from the other eye." And I'm like, from when you're holding that mindset, I have, like, I can't sit here and go, "Why me?"
Yeah.
Because my child is just going, "Everything's great.
I'm here.
It's fine. I'm
meant to
I'm
be
grateful
here."
and I'm humble."
But it goes back to my point at the beginning of iron sharpening iron. A baby, a newborn baby, can teach you so much.
Hun, if I can tell you how much my son has taught me, I literally look at him, I go, "You are just an old man soul, and you have no idea how much wisdom you're full of." The stuff that he comes up with, even him accepting my husband, the wisdom that he dropped on me, I'm like, I wasn't ready for this.
And my mum always calls me her biggest teacher.
There we go. And that's a beautiful thing, especially as a parent, to be able to go, "Do you know what? I can learn from you." Even on my younger sister, I said to her, like, "I look up to you." She's like, "How?" I said, "Because there's elements of you and there's things that you do that I admire,
that inspire me."
Rather than like some people see it differently, it's like, "Oh, why are you like this? I should be like this." Nah, like, I'm always here to grow and embrace, even if it's like, all right, cool, maybe I should have been a role model. But she goes, "Heba, you're my role model. You pushed me in so many different ways. Like, you were like my hype man in so much." Like, I wanted to do acting. You were like, "Cool, we're going to do acting." I wanted to become a singer. You're like, "Cool, we're going to be singer." And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, snap, for real." Yeah. But it's just...
But that mutual inspiration and adoration for each other is how I think it should be, because true leaders, they lead from the back, not the front.
Yeah. I'm learning about like different leadership styles. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I like this. Because some of them are like, what is it? Like the dictator. I'm like, nah, it's not me. Yeah. And then other ones like I forgot the names, but one's like you're empowering them and you're leading by example. And I think that's the best thing you can do. Yeah. When we first started speaking, I asked you like what you'd like to touch on, and you spoke about growth a little bit. What made you realize or identify like, okay, I'm going through growth? And like, what made you maybe stop and check yourself a little bit in regards to being conscious of the growth?
There's been a few times.
Is there anything in particular that stands out?
Recently, I think the most recent thing is my daughter becoming 18. Mad triggering. I didn't even realize it until a few days ago. But as the day was building up, like, obviously I'm planning for her, sorting out her presents and party and, you know, doing all of that jazz. I was realizing, like, I'm feeling like, ooh, 18. She's 18. Like, she's 18?
Yeah, that realised as it unpacks on layers.
Yeah. And you know what I was saying about with the babies growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're 18.
Yeah, that's
and it just hit me like, what was you doing at 18? Where was you? What was your mindset at 18? How was you perceiving the world and myself? Yeah, it's mad.
So different, yeah.
When I think about, I was almost becoming a mother. Like, I found out I was pregnant halfway through being 18, and then obviously had her. But yeah, I just think, how is she gonna grow differently in a more positive way than I did? And I feel like the growth that it's allowed me to do, even in the last week, has been, don't look at her in comparison to you. She is her, completely separate from you. And as a mother who's physically carried this child, done everything for this person all these years, to now more so mentally let go of her, because I'm a big advocate for allowing children to be autonomous. But at the same time, I feel like she would call me protective as a parent.
But do you feel like your protectiveness comes from a healthy, balanced way?
I would like to think that it's healthy and balanced. I guess later on down the line, when I grow some more, I might look back and go, actually, you weren't that quite balanced. But I like to think that I give them enough room to grow, but know that there's rules. There's someone that loves you. There's someone that cares for you. I'm here. I know where you are. I need to know where you are. I will drop you. I'll pick you up if need be. Like, I want to be close, but allow you to grow comfortably. So I'm trying to work out that balance. But I guess with everyone, you're only going to know what's best based on where you are and where you've come from. So my perception of what's healthy might be different to what your perception of healthy.
Just based on our journey.
Just based on my past, my childhood, how I've been brought up, and how that differs with you.
100%.
And then also as well, because I've got 3 children, I'm aware that each of your children have a different character as well. So as much as I love all of my children equally, I would die for all of them. I can't love them the same
100%.
because you are a different person. So I have to love you for who you are.
And what you need from me.
Yeah, and I have to love you for who you are and what you need from me. And I have to love you for who you are.
How long has
that
taken for you to realise
I
that?
feel like the birth of my last son, so he's 5.5.
Okay.
When I became pregnant with him, I was very, very aware that his birth, his coming into the world is going to massively affect my older 2 children. And I had to really plan and think and reason and reflect on how that might impact them positively and negatively, and try and, protect them from the negatives as much as possible.
100%,
and encourage the positives. But you never get things right.
What has been your biggest growth this far, like as a parent, would you say?
Accepting that I will always grow, and every day I can be better, and every day I can change. I think I feel like as women in particular, we're quite hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of guilt that we hold on to as mothers. And I feel like society places a lot of weight on women's shoulders.
Yep.
So I feel like allowing myself a clean slate every day and reflecting in the mornings so that I can just do a little bit better than yesterday. And I feel like if I just take each day as it comes and face whoever's in front of me at that time and deal with it the best I can, then I'll do better than I did yesterday.
In regards to the guilt that you mentioned, like we do all carry different levels of guilt. And I think my biggest guilt that I carry, even to this day at times, is the fact that I ended things with my ex-husband. Not because I feel like I should have been with him, but because I feel like I took away something from my child. To an extent.
Babe, this
it's the conflict, right?
Massive.
So I'm grateful that I did it. There's no regrets, but there's a hint of guilt when you hear the conversations or the little comments that he drops. It hits you like kind of a bit of a slap in the face.
The dad, your husband,
I mean,
or your son.
My son, like when he goes, "Oh, I wish I could have,"
right.
And it's just like I know for a fact if we stayed together, you'd be wishing for us to be split, like 100%. But it's just thinking, it's like the guilt of me even feeling like a failure to an extent.
I was just about to say it's the failing.
Yeah, because I felt like I 100% had it also. My mum's calling me back, by the way. Ask about the hospital.
We're trying to work out if we were born in the same hospital.
We might be related. We might be siblings. We don't know. Imagine. But yeah, so it's just realising that, keep reiterating and coaching myself into going, you didn't fail. But I remember I felt like I took the biggest L, which is I couldn't hold down a marriage. I couldn't hold down holding a unit together. And I was raised in that environment, so I surely could have. But then obviously there's a million other reasons why relationships don't work. Of
course, yeah.
Do you feel like you've truly forgiven yourself and removed that guilt?
Yeah, long time ago. A long time ago. I feel like there's parts of me that still has to know that my children will have a sense of heartbreak that, my parents are not together. I don't see my dad as much as I want to. He's not in the home, all of that stuff. Yeah, 100%. I held all of that guilt on for years. And I feel like probably in relation to that, the biggest part of my growth was, again, acceptance. Because before you can forgive anything, anyone, including yourself, you have to accept what is in front of you.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling guilty and you're feeling like a failure and you're trying to do everything you can to prove that you're not, which I did. I went through, I got to go uni. I got to have a car. I got to have my own place. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to do this. I got to do that. I placed all of that weight on my shoulders just so that I wasn't a statistical young single mum, teenage mum at that.
Yeah.
I burnt myself out. I burned out. And all of a sudden I turned around and my kids were like 9 and 7. And I was like,
when did this happen? Yeah.
Where's your childhood gone? Where's my 4-year-old little girl?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
but do you know what? It was survival mode.
Oh,
it was,
100%.
It was survival mode because I went through survival mode where it's like people like assumed I was very career driven. They're like, "Rah, you're really like career." I'm like, "Nah, I will not fail."
This is survival, babes.
This is literally me ensuring that I provide for my child by any means necessary. So I don't have to ask no one for nothing.
So bad though, isn't it?
But it's not not from a prideful way, but in that I've done asked you, and you're not. I'm having to I'm not going to beg.
Yeah,
you know
I'm
what
asking
I mean?
you twice.
It's if it's not logical and normal and natural for you to want to provide, then we're cool. We will soldier through. We'll survive. So I spent a lot of time just on work mode, then podding, then doing this and doing that, and it's like my son never had a lot of time of me. And then like over the weekends he'd be with his dad, and I'm like, well, where's the quality time? And now, luckily, because now I'm in my marriage, I'm able to slow down and be present. And I'm grateful because I always said I never want to be the parent where everyone else has raised my child besides me.
But me.
As much as grandparents are a beautiful thing and it's great to have a community and it does take a village to raise a child. Yeah. I still want to be part of that. I want to embed foundations in you that subconsciously, unconsciously is going to be part of your identity. And I can't do that when I'm hustling outside trying to make sure that we're not homeless or not trying to make sure that bills are covered. Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful thing when you start realizing actually, wait, where are my priorities? Where I thought this is my priority, which is to be this provider. Where did you find your balance and realize like, okay, cool?
It's a hard one because I feel like when you are in survival mode, it is very difficult to see that you're in survival mode. And I know that because whenever I've pointed that out to people that's been close to me over the years, there's been a lot of, what do you mean? The back goes up straight away because I guess with the best intentions of being in survival mode to try and survive, but whilst you're trying to survive, also appear to the world like you got it all together. Yeah. As well. And obviously with social media becoming more prevalent, obviously I was raising my kids young before, I think there was Facebook, but it wasn't like how you're on the phone every day now. Yeah. So I didn't have that social media presence. And I guess for like girls or women, young women now that are mums now, going through anything similar, the external pressures of having to even just seem like you got it all together. Like
it's heavy.
If you're in the supermarket and speaking to your children differently to how you would speak to them at home, because you know that in the supermarket there is an audience or people listening or overhearing, then you're in survival mode. Yeah. Because at home is how you truly are. Yeah. And if you have to do anything to allow someone into your home to see how you're actually things are going, then you're probably in survival mode.
That's interesting. I've never looked at it because I'd like to say I'm consistently the way I am on my child, like, but then I guess there are moments where you're very conscious of maybe other people.
I don't mean, you have your own private self.
Oh yeah. Well, I
don't mean that. I don't mean, like if your friend was coming over, you're going to tidy up a little bit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if at home you can't bathe, you can't shower, you can't tidy up, everything feels heavy and hard to do, you're probably depressed and you're probably fighting to survive.
That's it.
Because to the outside world, when you go to that supermarket or when you go and visit your friends, you look great.
But they have no idea.
Seem all together.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying this is because this is where I was at one point.
That makes sense. No, you're
right. For about a year.
Yeah.
I was fighting to hold it all together. I had these 2 little kids. The toys were everywhere in my front room. My kitchen and that was clean. My house was clean, but the kids' stuff, their bedroom, my gosh, it was like, oh.
Because where do you find the time and the energy?
Yeah, you're playing. Something? You're gonna make mess. I'm gonna have to tidy this up anyway. You're playing. I'm gonna make mess. And that cycle of repetitiveness for a woman and mum who's in survival mode is hard.
What would you say has been your hardest moment as a mother, your lowest moment, I'd say maybe.
Probably that.
Yeah.
Probably feeling like I'm all alone. I've got these kids. I'm working my butt off. I'm at uni. I'm driving up and down. I'm running up and down. I'm trying to go gym to look good too. I haven't got no man at the moment. I'm not really close with my mum. I just felt alone. And I feel like that's probably the darkest place. How I got out of that, I can't remember. But
was there a turning point where like maybe because when did you start therapy?
I think I first went therapy when I was about 26.
Okay, so by then you'd already finished uni. You've already done all that stuff.
I'm done, but I'm working. I went back. I studied another course at uni. That's what happened, and because when I first went to uni, I didn't finish it, so I left it, and then I had the kids. No, I'd already had the kids, but they'd grown up and they'd started to go to school, and I got a job in a school.
Nice.
So I could have a day off a week and then go to uni, and then so I'm running around like a headless chicken, studying, working, driving, picking up, drop off. Yeah, literally. And I was just exhausted the whole time.
But you made it your norm. You made it like
I made it my norm, but I was
at your own
also
expense, though.
suffering with a chronic illness as well that I was in complete denial about, not facing at all.
Can I ask what that is?
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis.
Can you elaborate?
Which is, so when people think of arthritis, they think of the old people with their bones all out of joint and they can't really move, they can't walk, or, oh, when you click your hands, you're going to get arthritis when you're older. So that's called osteoarthritis. Yeah. That's a degenerative thing. As you get older, your bones get weaker and stuff like that. Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic illness, an autoimmune disease, where the immune system is overactive. And it basically thinks that there's a foreign body there. So it starts attacking your cells. Yeah. So when your cells are attacked, they start to fuse together, which affects your joints. So in between your bones, you have a joint, basically like gristle when you look at meat. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. And that part starts to break down. When that breaks down, the bones then rub together. So there's a lot of swelling, inflammation and pain. So
you were soldiering through that as well?
Yeah. Ignoring it. Completely ignoring it. Because I'm busy. Got to go here, got to go there, got to prove I'm not this single mum. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. Like, I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. But
it's real. That pressure's extremely
real. That pressure is real.
Because the minute you crumble, they're like, I told you, you're just another person. Or like, you're earning a title where people can throw shade at you, or they can like feel pity for you. Like, oh, bless her, she tries to
But that feeling of what you were saying about being a failure as well is I wasn't married. I didn't ever get married, so it's not like I've left a marriage. I was just a single mum of 2 kids, like that. All that societal pressure as well of not being a woman of value, that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. So you almost lowered your own. You didn't consciously, maybe consciously.
I'm just telling myself I've got to do better than where I am now. If I stay where I am now, I'm a failure. No, you weren't a failure. Your relationship failed.
I think, and that's it.
But it's forgiving yourself of being young in survival mode. You're still in survival mode, trying to survive, but whilst trying to look good and look like you got it all together as well.
Yeah, but inevitably you'll burn out.
You're a fraud.
Yeah, you are literally.
We literally asked this question on our latest episode. Shell's asked, do you ever feel like a fraud?
I saw that clip.
Yeah. So we're like. The example she gave is we're on the phone talking to each other like, can you go and get the thing now? And then she'll be on the phone cracking up like, who's that, Yanis or Lene? And I'm like, oh well, whichever one, whoever it is. And then she's like, Alexis, da, 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 da. So, and then I'm like, but it's normal.
We're human.
That's
it. I think
I'm not a fraud to know that I don't get 100% of my life right.
Yeah.
But I know this is what I'm aspiring to. And whilst I'm making these mistakes along the way and sharing that with all of you, like...
But it is about...
It's
growth.
honesty.
It's literally
it's real life.
And then also sometimes when you speak about like how you'd like to be most of the time and you're not like that all the time, sometimes you're almost putting yourself accountable, so you're having to check yourself. So when you hear, like, I've done it where I've yelled at my son and I'm like, lower your pride, apologize. And I said to him, Khalil, I didn't mean to get angry at you. Not immediately. Give me like 5 minutes. Let him
Once you're
marinate in that.
calm, he's calm. Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm not afraid, because I never want him to be resentful towards me, because I lost my ish because I'm having a intense situation today, or you know, and it's nothing to do with him. Do you know what I mean? So
you're taking out other frustrations.
Like I'm deflecting my energy on him because he's nagging like a typical child should do,
or magnifying something very small and making it big because you're in your feelings about that over there.
No, I agree.
We're human.
We're guilty of it. It's fine.
We're all guilty of it. Yeah.
How do you look after your mental well-being?
Now, I'm actually on a wait list again with the NHS to get therapy again. But generally, exercise is the best thing for me. Moving, and that's why, like, my mental health with regards to my illness, that I'm healing from, because I like to say I'm healing from it, speak it into existence. I'm not suffering with it, I'm healing from it. I like
that. This is a healthy mindset.
Language is a massive thing, like speaking positively about things. It's very easy, especially as women, again, like, for us to go, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, oh, look at that, look at this, look at that, when you're looking in the mirror, or, oh, I'm like this, or am I too hard, am I too talkative,
you need to give yourself positive affirmations. You don't wait on someone else to, as much as it might be a love language, do it to yourself.
So something I've always done with my kids, like when they're doing their prayers at night, is like, and my little one, especially my little one now, the older two are a bit over it, but we do like, I am strong, I am kind, I am brave, I'm smart, and I can be anything I want to be. That's every night without fail.
That's amazing.
And I do kind of similar things myself. Probably not every day, probably not as much as I should do. But definitely when I'm feeling low, like, I remind myself of who I am, whose child I am.
You have to remember your worth.
Where I want to go, what I want to do, and just, you know, allow myself to be in my feelings if I want to be.
Yeah, and also accepting that you've had one hell of a journey, and be grateful for where we are today, and the growth that's yet to come.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like until our dying day, we're growing, and anyone who tries to resist growth is only harming themselves.
None of us are the finished product. Like, none of us are the finished article, and that's one thing that I've enjoyed about doing the podcasting, is that every guest we've had on, and even the episodes where we've just had a chat like we're chatting now, when I leave here, I'm going to feel 10 times lighter.
It's therapy within itself.
As Shell says it to me every episode, oh, that was like therapy for me, thanks.
That's literally what I get told by the guests all the time. They're like, why do I feel I've just done therapy? And I'm like, it's all good, man. I'm here for this. It's all about healthy conversations.
And I feel like, you know, when I first started, I was very like stiff and conscious.
Because you're too conscious of
I'm like conscious of, how am I coming across? Are people going to like me?
What's the angle saying?
Yeah, like even today I sat down, I was like, this is my bad angle. But guess what? You're going to get all of my angles. Because
give them a 360.
Because, you know, double chin is chinning. Who cares?
We've got 2 minutes quickly.
Okay.
Do you feel like you've healed? Or do you feel like, or have you seen yourself healing?
I've healed
your journey?
From certain things, but different smells, tastes, places, conversations, things can trigger things that your memory kind of protects you from, and things will come up again.
Yeah.
But I've realised I'm healing. I don't feel, like I said, no one's a finished article.
No,
we're always going to continually grow and heal. 100%. So yes and no.
That's cool. That's the fact that you're healing, that's enough.
And I'm conscious that every day I'm healing and growing. So it's an everyday thing. I feel like if we take more time to take each day as it comes.
And not to resist the change as well.
Yeah, we'll be a lot more at peace and content with ourselves.
Truly, thank you so much. We're about to do another episode, so it's calm.
Of course.
So if y'all going, I want some more, just hang tight. For those, again, where can they find you on socials?
At When the Kids Go to Bed is Shells and I's pod page, and my personal page is London Girls Talks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, you're listening to Grown Up British, or myself, Mama Hebs. You can catch me on Instagram on I am Hebs with a Z, or grownupbritish.h, and Mama Hebs on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe to the Rascal thing. Thank you. Bye.
Grownish, smartish, British.